Hi, everybody.
Hello there.
I'm Jerry.
And I'm Linda.
We're the Village's Newcomers. We want to talk to you about a subject that's near and dear to our heart today. Our veterans. You know, our sons are in the military. And to us, these are the true American heroes. The men and women that serve in our armed forces. And we've had letters asking about the Villages, do we take care of our military veterans? And we had a letter in particular just a day or two ago from Jim Houston. Jim said he was in the Villages for a lifestyle visit, and he wondered about, could veterans find good primary care? And he also wanted to know if there was a veterans clinic, and is it easy to find a doctor there? Well, we don't know, because we're not military.
No.
Neither one. And although our sons are, they live far away. They haven't used the facilities here. So we reached out to some friends in the neighborhood, some veterans. And we were fortunate to find 2 retired Marines. These guys are the best of the best. They're devil dogs. They're leathernecks. And we're so proud to have them here today. And we'd like to welcome Don and Tom to our home. I'd like to thank Don and Tom for being here today. It's so nice of you guys.
Hi, Jerry.
I told everybody you're Marines, and we're honored to have you in the community. You know, Linda and I are big supporters of the military, and so many of our viewers are, and so many people that live here in the Villages. Have you found that the Villages is a patriotic and supporting community?
Yeah, if you go to the parades and so forth that they have here, yes, it is always very well supported. When you have some kind of event for the Veterans Day and so forth, there's always a lot of turnout.
Yeah, I was surprised coming from civilian community, other than the Villages, how many former vets, retirees, military folks in general are. It's loaded with folks, so it's a fun place to be.
Well, today we're responding to a letter, but not just one letter, many letters, but I only read one of them. Curious to know if the Villages has facilities, medically speaking, for veterans. So we're talking, I guess, about a VA clinic.
There's not a VA. The closest VA hospital that I'm aware of is Gainesville. So I have been treated up there. There also is a separate, outside the hospital, they have a dermatology clinic and I think a claims clinic up in there in Gainesville. But if you need to have any kind of surgery, or that's typically going to be up in Gainesville. If you're talking about just regular, your ears checked, your eyes checked, the physical, those are all done here in the clinic. The thing that when I first got here, I think COVID has done some damage to, is when we had an orientation here, they told us the number of volunteers they had, and it's astronomical. I mean, you just didn't have, a regular VA would just not have that many people volunteering. I mean, the volunteers outnumbered the staff. But they had to cut that back to essential people. So a lot of the people who were helping out and so forth, the lady gave the orientation to me when I first got here. She'd been a full bird colonel, and she was there helping. But most VA facilities are not going to have that help. But again, hopefully that'll all come back. When this COVID all goes away. But there's most of what you want to have done is done here in the Villages. It's a bureaucracy, it's the federal government. So yeah, you're going to have a couple things. I had a problem with the prescription deal once and then had to fight through. I had a doctor I first got was absolutely wonderful, loved him. He transferred to a different VA. I was assigned a new doctor, did not get along with that doctor. Went to the assistants you had there and said, this ain't working. They got me a new doctor. Yeah, I've been fine ever since. So,
Now, Don, the folks at home don't know, but I want to tell them that you're a veteran from the Vietnam War.
yes.
Can you tell us just a little bit about your military background?
Well, I was a Marine, and I was, I went to Vietnam in 66 and 67. I was an infantry, what we call grunt. If you're a Vietnam era and you serve in Vietnam, then you have automatically that Agent Orange disclaimer, which gets you a little higher ranking And anybody who's going to whatever the VA they're going to would know that there's different 8 scales, something like that, from where you pay large copay to where you pay no copay. But there's my deal is, yeah, I did my time, got out as an E5, and
The rest is history.
the rest is history. Yeah. Tom here now, he was much more of a career man than I was.
Well, let's hear it, Tom. What's your background in the military?
I had spent 22 active duty years in the Marine Corps, and to be honest with you, I had not much experience with VA hospitals being active duty. I would go to a base or be treated out in town under TRICARE. But about 15 years ago, I was on a duty that took me in the civilian world, and I went to a VA hospital for treatment. It was kind of an emergency. And it wasn't so smooth, to say the least. So when I moved down here, I was pleasantly surprised to just see the professionalism and how efficient the clinic here on the Villages is run. Like Don was saying, they've got audiology, a radiology, everything, or well, a lot more things than when the term clinic would lead you to believe. They can do a lot of things here. And with Gainesville only being about 60 miles away, you've got really good access to all the things the VA can provide. I've always found it easy to make appointments. You can go online and do it. I too have had a few doctor changes, but I can honestly say I am more than happy. As a matter of fact, I don't go to any other doctors other than the VA now, and I certainly could, but I'm fine with them. I think it's a great place.
The Villages has no VA hospital, but it has a VA clinic, correct? And that's up north somewhere. Where is that?
The hospital's in Gainesville, and there's more.
No, the clinic here.
The clinic here is just in the north side. It's on the very north edge of the Villages, the Highway 42, I think.
Right,
Mulberry
up by-
Lane, which is off of 42.
Right, up by Mulberry.
It's just about you're just outside the Villages. So it's from where we are, we're the far south time. It takes about half an hour to get there. So it's, I don't know, 10 miles or something.
How does it work if you want an appointment at the clinic? You call and make it?
You can either call, or there's an online system that you can get in and request one. Like I got my eyes checked here a couple months ago. I sent a message saying, hey, it's time for me to have my eyes checked. They called me back and said, get you in this time. Yeah, works.
So do you have a family physician also, or all your medical is done through the VA?
When I first got down here, because I'd already had some heart problems back from Tennessee, and I came down here. I found a cardiologist here, but I just had several tests that they've ran up here. I have AFib, and actually the specialist outside the VA, when I called them to my back in AFib, they weren't going to get to me for like 3 weeks. I contacted the VA. I got in 3 days. So which people know about the bureaucracy. They had me EKGs and pulse test and et cetera. I ran a whole battery of tests inside of 10 days of notifying. Now some of that was like where they did the scan on my heart. I had to go to up in Gainesville, but like the regular EKG on that was done here.
So here, if you go to the clinic and they say, well, you have something serious with your heart, they refer you to their hospital?
Yes. They send you out for I've had no problem up there. I've had my complexion, and with my history in the sun, I've had skin cancers, and the dermatology clinic is, if you have dermatology problems, that is outside of what your normal primary care physician can do. They send you to, like I have every 6 months because of my history, I go to one in dermatology in Gainesville. If that doctor finds something that's that they need another surgery, which they have occasionally, they schedule me a surgery up in Gainesville hospital, and I go over there and they do their thing.
Jerry, I'd like to add something to that too. I didn't know that the VA was this efficient about things. So it wasn't too long ago that I had back issues that I've had for a long time, and the rehab wasn't doing much good, and they told me that they would go ahead and refer me to an outside clinic that did chiropractic, acupuncture, massages, and so it's done by civilians, not associated with the VA. It's outside clinics, but it's just like going to a regular doctor where they refer you to specialists now. And that was really unfamiliar to me. I didn't know that the VA had done that, but it's a big improvement, and they make it so easy down here. Even things like MRIs. If you need an MRI and they're too busy at the radiology and the VA, they'll go ahead and send you out in town to get it done. So
That's good to know. And no charge for any of that out of your pocket.
It depends on your level.
Okay.
With the VA has different levels of service, and like I said, he just said I had same thing. I had to threw my back out with a doctor, and they sent me to therapy. Then they sent me to chiropractor, and then I go talk to the VA, and they say, "Well, we can do that." And the funny thing is, they go through a different process up there for outside help. When they came back to call me, they asked me, "Do I had a preference?" I said, "Yeah, the guy I was going to is good." They sent me to the same chiropractor. So
Nice.
yeah. And for me, because the level I'm at, I paid where I was my private insurance. I was paying $40 a month copay, a visit copay. When I go through the VA, I was paying nothing for the same guy.
Well, I did a little homework before you guys came over, and what I heard or what I read was that everybody that serves and is honorably discharged is going to get some VA benefits. But the extent of it will depend upon, like you said, your level may be based upon your years served.
Well, everything goes back to if you have service-related injuries. If you have no service-related injuries, and I went to because I signed up for that, they had an Agent Orange group
registry.
I signed up for that when I was in Tennessee, and I spent better part of a day being prostituted and brooded and so forth. And so I was on that list. They had an Agent Orange town hall here, and about 3 years ago. And this was when some of the transition stuff, when they were trying to improve things with the VA. And people from the VA, people from their local congressman, people from the VSO officers were there. And it was quite interesting to find out that, some of the people there who weren't getting service. And it was silly. One guy had, you are covered if you are an Agent Orange Vietnam and you have prostate cancer. By definition, you're covered. The VA will take care of you. They were denying him. Well, this is the thing, I think, where you are. The guy said, well, they were denying him because his DD-214 said Southeast Asia. It didn't say Vietnam. He said, what you got is somebody's got a little check mark, and it says, does it say Vietnam? No, then deny. They're not, some of these people don't even know where Southeast Asia is. So, it's been a long time since that war. That's where you have the repeal process and the VSO officers. You go to them. I said I had a little problem. I made a claim, and they denied it. And he looks in there, and they never looked at the stuff. So we reapplied it, and I got it.
Well, good.
So the VSO officers, or at least the ones I've dealt with, I also the American Legions who there you have the Disabled Veterans has a group there. The American Legion has a group there. I've dealt with the American Legion people, and they've been. By the way, you talk about the size. The largest American Legion in the country is here in the Villages. It has like 6,000 members. It's huge.
That's amazing.
So, but yeah, if you have a problem, like I said, when I've gone and said, hey, this ain't working, there's been somebody who's been there to help.
We're 100% supportive and glad that you have this low to no cost medical care. I figured out recently that a common soldier makes approximately $35,000 a year. Your average NBA player makes 100 times that a year, over $3 million. So don't begrudge you guys getting the free medical care. I'm all for it.
It was part of when you will find a lot of people because their time back in the, I started going to a gym I worked with who was actively getting people to go. And I first went to make myself eligible because prescriptions are expensive. And that's why I first went for it. From there, I found, there were other things they could do for me that I didn't even envision. And I will say, if I have one complaint about the VA, it is that they don't come out and promote that you have this coverage. You have to kind of fall into, oh, they'll do that for me? I laugh. I was in the first time I came here, and the doctor after a couple of years said, well, we need to get your eyes checked. Oh, okay. I go get my eyes checked. And they give me a little slip, and they say, well, now you can get your glasses, but you have to go to our eye shop. Oh, okay. I go down the hallway to the eye shop, eyeglass shop. Looks like any other shop. Go in there, and I find a pair I want. And I say, okay, what do these cost me? She looks at my paperwork, said, well, nothing. And I go, huh? I could have been getting free glasses for 20 years and never knew it until I just happened to fall into it, where they asked me when we need to check your eyes. I would never have thought that I would get eyeglasses from the VA. Never occurred to me.
So things like eyeglasses and hearing aids and
Hearing aids is one.
basically whatever you need to live, you're going to be able to get.
Can I tell one quick story?
Yeah.
I'd had my hearing is somewhat bad. I'd had it checked when I was in Tennessee, and you go in, like anything, you walk into an office, they test you and say, you don't need them yet, goodbye. When I came here to the villages, they say, oh, yeah, we'll check yours, but you need to get your wife and you come to a clinic, and we won't test your ears until after you both came here, because we want to teach you kind of how to live with your bad ears. And things like, don't be in separate rooms and try and talk to each other. But you never got that. The villages had, like I said, the volunteers enough to have people there to hold these kind of classes. I still got my ears checked, but before I got my ears checked, we went through like an hour class with someone telling you the foibles of living with somebody who doesn't hear good.
How about dental? Is dental covered at all?
Not unless you're 100% disabled. If you're 100% disabled, dental is covered. But other than that, if you're 70, 80%, no.
All right. Well, fellas, is there anything left that you could say to our viewers that are ex-military people, veterans that are thinking about moving to the villages? Will they be covered in some extent? It sounds like it.
They'll have the same. It's a federal program, so the level is going to be the same. It's like any other bureaucracy, depending. People are going to interpret different things differently. I said I had a problem with the prescription because they were reading it, or the VA had a thing out, they were discouraging it. Well, other parts of the country were giving it, and eventually I got it. But it is a bureaucracy. If you come down here, they are shorthanded like everybody is on doctors and nurses. You will probably not get a primary care doctor right away. The higher level you are up, the more likely you're going to get a doctor quicker. But they're shorthanded, so it's not an immediate you walk in, you'll have a doctor the next day.
I was going to say, if you're eligible for it where you live now, I think you'll get a pleasant surprise based on how the VA was run years ago and how it is now. I think it'll be a pleasant surprise for you to come here.
We want to thank you guys for coming today and sharing with us about the VA and all the experiences you've had with the VA.
Hope it's helpful.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming. I'm not going to thank them for beating me on a regular basis in golf because these two guys are both good golfers. But so nice of you to come. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it, Jay.
It was so nice of them to come visit us today.
Yeah, these guys, they're the best of the best. Even if they weren't Marines, they're fine men and such good members of the community, and we're thankful to have them here. We hope our show reached out to some of you that were wondering about how veterans were treated here in the villages. The villages, more than any place that I've ever lived, really treasures its military servicemen and women. And we think if you come here, you're going to see it for yourself. Thanks for watching.
And if you liked our video today, please press that like and subscribe button. Until next time.
See you when you get here.